Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, student of the game of Fans First Sports Network.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And you're doing this thing. Listen to us talk about the things that you need to hear on the Believe Podcast Network. And Travis, your 17-17 tie in the Saints preseason. I know people will find that outcome, as far as the outcome itself, to be anticlimactic, but let's be honest. That part doesn't matter. It's just like the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? The points are made up. They don't matter. The score doesn't matter exactly. What does matter is what we saw earlier in the game. A lot of things that you were looking for. You and I were both, let's be honest, whether I'm a card-carrying member of the Duval Devout or not, I was looking for it too. But what's got to be, we saw some of the things we saw. The offensive line looked better. We got more pass rush from the defense. Part of it will be, and let's get this out of the way quickly, dude, it was the Saints. Understood, okay? Get it. But certainly an improvement from last time, you have to say, right?
I mean, I would say, I would absolutely be in agreement. Yeah, it was the Saints, but at the end of the day, last week was against the Steelers, who didn't play 23 players. So what is that? Like, at the end of the day, you can only play against the guys who line up against you. And the fact of the matter, the Jaguars starting units look like starting units against backups. They didn't against Pittsburgh. Most of Duval Devout, most of Duval media and everything and fans alike all flamed the team when they didn't look like a starting unit versus a backup unit. This week, that was not the case. This week, this truly looked like the Jaguar starters playing against backups from another team, which is what it should have looked like. So I'm going to give them credit where credit is due. You look as you should look, and that to me is at minimum progress. Cool, good job.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. And we see you guys there in the comments. Our friend Radius, of course, lighting up the comments. We'll be right there with you momentarily. I'm not pulling them up yet because you're hitting things we're going to hit. I don't want to spoil the episode, such as where it's headed. But let's talk specifically to the opening drive. And I know I talk about this in my article that you'll see when it drops here soon on Fans First Sports Network. Brenton Strange. Nice. Okay. And the reason why I mention him in particular is what he did in that first drive. And again, I know the drive ended because Ezra Cleveland stepped on Trevor's foot. Trevor tried to make the extra effort to extend, which is something you're never supposed to do. The fumble got, is that blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I think I'll go with this comment, Mr. Third Down there for Brenton Strange. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be his role here coming up. It's not Evan Ingram. He blocks better. And there was even one instance where Trevor almost still threw a touchdown to Brian Thomas Jr. when Brenton Strange was hit with a double team on his side. He had two rushers coming at him, and Trevor still almost completed it. I say all that to say Brian Thomas Jr. it's not the worst drop I've ever seen, but BTJ knows he should have had it. Instead of a 3rd and long where you would have seen a 4th down, normally with this team, Brenton Strange comes up big, converts, and then gets another moving of the chains. Both of his catches were first downs. That's the kind of day you expect to see. And by the way, opening up the touchdown for Parker Washington the following drive with his route. This is what you want to see from Brenton Strange.
Right. And I think I agree. Like, if you're a Brenton Strange truther in the fantasy world or just in the Duval Devout, you are absolutely feeling like you're on cloud 9 today. Like, you're loving your investments, your fantasy football investments, or your, whatever, your gambling investments, if you're one of those people. But overall, like, he had a really solid day. He kept bailing the offense out when they needed a play. He was kind of always the guy. He was Johnny on the spot to make those plays. And that's exactly what you want to see. And also shout out Hunter Long, who also had a really good, play.
Yeah.
With the second group. So I'm ecstatic about the quality of play that you've seen from the Jaguars tight end room. And to your point, you did mention one of the few negatives from the day is Brian Thomas's drop. Actually, in my Big Cat Country article, the write-up of the game, I said the same as far as, hey, this Jaguars offense finally played clean. They came out and it looked like one of those practice days where it's just like, all right, they're going to be on it today. This is good. All right, minimal penalties. Actually, I'm sorry, no penalties from the starting units, both defense and offense. And the only drop was Brian Thomas's drop. Yes, it was a bad one. Yes, I don't want to say worrisome because I don't think I'm even there, but I am
sure.
looking. I'm looking. Well, no. Someone asked me earlier this week, actually, how I felt about the drops and everything else, and they were like, "Well, most of them are from the second group and third group, and it's fine, and blah blah blah." And we saw a little bit of that today. But overall, my response at that time was, I'm not worried if it's the backup guys, but I am worried when I see guys like Hunter Long or guys like Brian Thomas Jr. with drops because I've seen those kind of stack up this camp. And someone like Brian Thomas, I'm just being honest about this. It has been something that's stacked up.
Right.
In multiple practices where he's had a drop or two, and it's just like, all right, man, I'm waiting for him to get there where I expect him to be, and it's just not happening overall with a little bit of his frustration from this offseason. So that is the only negative I can even point out to. But overall, I mean, it was super dang dominant. Like the offensive line, board, they're blocking. It was really good. Like, I mean, Fred Johnson out there moving folks. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing the second, the Big Cat Country rewatch, so I can just verify what I thought I saw on the first watch. But I saw Fred Johnson out there moving guys. I saw Jonah Monheim out there moving guys, and this is in addition to the first group guys. Like, they did well. So if that is truly going to be the case moving forward, because I'm consistently saying this for years now, and I've said it multiple times this offseason, I look for offensive line play in the preseason, even for fantasy football drafts. I feel like that travels to the regular season. If you can block well in the run game in the preseason, that travels into the regular season. So the fact that I've seen that with the Jacksonville Jaguars starting offensive line both this week and a little bit last week, because we mentioned that even though Travis Etienne didn't have a great yard per rush because I thought he missed the hole against Pittsburgh. He had a great game this week where I didn't see any meat that he left on the bone. So I feel like it was a good week across 2 weeks for the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line as far as run blocking is concerned. And if I'm Liam Cohen, who wants an efficient run game, and if I'm in the Duval Devout, who want a winning football team, I'm ecstatic about that fact.
Yeah, and again, I'm jumping around in the comments a little bit. No, that's not the one I want to do yet. We'll talk later, Connor. Impressive how deep the running backs are. We knew the running backs were deep, but here's the thing: the O-line let them shine today. That's where I'm at. The O-line let them shine today.
They weren't getting hit in the backfield. Like, I mean, there were a few plays where, you have a Bayshawn Tootin the way he sidesteps a guy at the line of scrimmage. And, that would have been maybe a tackle for a loss or a tackle for no gain. And he ends up making, getting 3 or 4 yards out of that. Sure you're going to have those situations and those instances.
And they did great jobs extending plays, too, by the way, once they were at that second level. Let's not act like they did nothing. But
right. The offensive line did well. The running backs played off the offensive line, which is how it should be. It's never going to be one or the other. It's never going to be just the running backs or just the O-line, or rarely, I should say. But the fact of the matter is, they kept Trevor Lawrence clean, no sacks. They kept the running backs reasonably clean. And again, you can say, yes, against backups, sure, I'm already with you there. But the fact of the matter is, you can only play who you line up against, and the guys they lined up against, they dominated. Like the starting unit had over 100 yards total offense, and I believe the Saints had like 20 or 21 at the time when the starters left the field. So that's what you're supposed to do,
cool. Right? Yeah, but they weren't doing that before, and that's your point. They repeated here a couple stats I think that are worth mentioning here.
We asked the Duval, we asked the Jaguars, we asked everyone, hey, are they going to improve? Are they going to be the team we expect them to be? And if that's playing against backups and dominating, then we got our answer. Yes, they did that. That was the expectation. I think they hit that mark. Great job, Jaguars.
100%. The couple things I would leave as we move on from this particular piece about the starter play. A, no Anton Harrison. B, obviously no Travis Hunter. So they're down 2 starters there. 10:33 time of possession in the opening quarter. That's the O-line flex right there. Finishing the game, of course, with 96 yards on the ground. That is 30 more. 30 more than the game against the Steelers.
And I know folks were going to be a little bit in their feelings about the Trevor fumble. And I felt bad for the man. I'm just being real about it because it stinks because he falls. He's reaching the ball out. By the time he probably realizes he's falling, he has a chance to decide whether or not he's going to pull this back in or kind of keep going out, because you're kind of reaching out with one hand on the football, and you got a split second to be like, can I do this or can I just give it to Tank? you were in no man's land at that point. Like, and that's what really kind of sucks. Like, I looked at that play probably 6 times, and I'm just like, dude, that sucks. Because as Cleveland stepped on his feet, he's probably not expecting that to happen. He's kind of just in that spot. I know Coach Cohen stated, yeah, you got to keep that ball if you can. That's a big if you can. Sucks, and it sucks that it also happened to Trevor because he's gonna get all the smoke for it. I'm 100% sure you'll have Texans fans retweeting it immediately. Like, this kind of is what it is.
What to say about it? But for everything, I mean, the only hard part about that opening drive, seeing the line dominate, seeing what happened with the offense, was watching the turnover happen. And for any NFL fan, it's always hard to watch your quarterback fumble away or turnover away, a drive in the red zone, regardless of how it happened. It's almost as hard as trying to find the perfect candidates for your organization when you're trying to hire somebody new. There's too many resumes, not enough candidates with the right skills or right experience, but not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you could try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio.
No, I mean, and you have to go to ZipRecruiter immediately. Immediately after you post a job. Their powerful matching technology is always going to be right there to help you out. It's going to help you find the most qualified people immediately. Like, definitely use their smart technology. It's going to give you the best talent on the market. So definitely visit ZipRecruiter. Come on, man.
Yeah, when it comes to ZipRecruiter, once you get that immediate response that Travis was talking about, you also have their invite to apply feature. So if you see a candidate that you like a little bit more out there, you can reach out them directly to make sure that they will apply sooner.
So ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within 1 day. Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
So I think that is just a great way to sum it up. It was tough to watch that turnover be what it was.
Can I ask you a question though?
Go for it.
How do you feel about the fact that call was called? Like, just in general, like the final interception where you have 9 seconds and 2 timeouts left, and you have an opportunity to let Cam Little do. Well, that's what Radius is saying. That's actually my question right there. Great job, Radius. Like, how do you feel about the fact that was called? You can argue that they're trusting their guy, John Wolford, to make the smart play, but it feels a lot like that, Seattle Seahawks not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch at the 2-yard line and then letting the interception happen when you have the game basically in hand. And I don't want to say a 58-yard, 56-yard field goal is everything and it's guaranteed, but you got Cam Little who just made it from 70. And you got a timeout and you throw a slant where the ball can in the middle of the field. How do you feel about that play call just in general?
Terrible, because you've had an O-line that's been able to move the ball. Now, granted, they were blowed up earlier and Jackson lost yardage in what could have been an opportunity to go over 100 for the game, and I would have been truly ecstatic. But yeah, run the ball. Run the ball.
So you're thinking run the ball, get it to the hash where you want to get it to, and just set him up, call the timeout, and get out of there with that win.
Yo, Cam,
interesting.
Do Cam Little things get it done? Yeah, I as far as a botched play call, I'm forced to agree. But by the same token, what I feel like was being done there, in defense of the 4D chess theory, I keep throwing out with Liam Cohen and company, right? I think they wanted to put Wolford in that scenario, given an opportunity to prove. Or it wasn't Wolford. Was it Wolford or Hannigan that threw that last one? I don't remember which. But
I thought am I crazy? I thought the last one was Wolford.
Well, Hannigan came in late. I don't remember who threw the last pass.
Okay. Then I'll take a look at the play-by-play. But nevertheless,
yeah.
You got
the point is whoever that was, somebody was getting tested and failed. Let's put it bluntly, right? Because at the end of the day, obviously anything was given the ball was better than giving the ball to the other team. Yeah. I don't feel like the receiver had a shot. I know there's one of those, the receiver tipped it. This was not that. This was a bad decision by the quarterback to even throw that. So we're cascading into all the things that went wrong. But yeah, it starts with not running the damn ball. I'm
No,
with
but you're correct. That actually was Hennigan, and I missed the fact that it was Hennigan in the game.
Oh, they snuck him in at the end too. Yeah, I don't even blame you. Like out of nowhere, they had even
So we're
fooled
calling a slant
the commentators, Bucky, and I forget the other dude's name, but yeah, they had fooled him for a minute. They mentioned it after the ball was snapped themselves. Oh, and Hennigan in there playing. You know, it was crazy.
Oh, so all right. So Hennigan, and we're calling this. I mean, I guess I can't blame the coaches for saying a slant's one of the options to throw to. That doesn't mean he has to throw that ball, or he doesn't have to force that ball in there.
Like if the corner is sitting back and daring you to throw inside of him, take it. Call the timeout. Cam Little do Cam Little things. That throw, terrible call, terrible decision.
Dang. I tell you, I've been wishing for Hennigan, man, because I think he's a gamer, and I always felt like he was a lot like Minshew light, kind of one of those kind of guys, just in general. But you can't make that throw, and I think he knows that, and it is what it is.
Radius brings up another point here. I think that overall goes here. At least now we could be confident to rest the starters next week. Your take?
Oh man, that was always going to happen. And I said it on the socials on Thursday that my expectation was that the Jaguars, the offense and defense, were going to come out and they were going to be dominant against the Saints, and the Duval was going to feel really good about them, and then they were going to have a reasonably strong practice against the Miami Dolphins in the joint practices, because the Dolphins are everyone's elixir. They just are. So you have a solid week against the Saints. You have the week you'd expect to have against the Dolphins in joint practices, and then all of a sudden everyone's feeling great about this Jaguars team as they go home to face to open the season against the Carolina Panthers. That was always my expectation, no matter how practice went, because that's just I don't know. There was everything that tells me this team they're successful in 70% of practices. I'm there at every practice. They look good 70% of the time. And if for whatever reason the scrimmage happens, or the first game happens, or that one practice right after they just have a bad time, that's how it was happening. And all of us were just looking at that 30% and putting a microscope on that 30% of the time, when I'm looking at 70% of the time and they just look like good. So my expectation was that they were going to finally figure it out and get it right. My only question is, can they be consistent enough to keep this thing moving and consistently being what we saw today, even when they're playing that higher tier of talent on the opposite side of that ball? We don't know that answer, and we won't have it anytime soon.
Consistency is what makes champions, whether they win the AFC South or not. Before we move to defense, this is a defensive point, I think. I'm getting put on defense by the JJ Watt fathead. Sir, I don't think you understand. First of all, I get it as you, as a card-carrying member of the Duval Devout, have to ask and say that question. I think you're the first one in the comments to actually call out the JJ Watt fathead. So, I mean, good on you. But without looking at the helmet, or if we can even see what color the helmet is that a Cardinals jersey, JJ Watt, or is that a Texans JJ Watt? You don't know.
I can tell you.
I know you. I'm about you right now. I'm talking to Connor. But here's what I will tell you. I also have an Arizona Cardinals JJ Watt jersey as a 49er fan. You will not ever take away my JJ Watt man crush. That guy's an absolute beast, and you're just going to have to accept this. I'm sorry, Connor. I just thought you should know.
But yeah, so Zenith, when you see Monheim move people, only to see Fortner get stood up at impact. More offensive line. I'm so looking forward to looking at that replay, because again, I thought they were dominant overall, but I know there's going to be individual guys and individual plays where it's just like, oh yeah, that
it's almost like some of us were talking about that Fortner better watch his back, but I kept hearing about somebody says that they want a powerful, angry center, and that person who said that isn't wrong. But Monheim, I think, is still an upgrade. I saw
Monheim is powerful. Monheim is powerful, and he's really good at guard and at center. Like, he's a really solid option.
His feet are insane. Okay. Yeah. I saw him, the ball was snapped. I wish I could remember the play. The ball was snapped, and he goes, and like nobody came up the middle because the Saints don't have a proper zero fat guy. Few NFL teams do anymore. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. He looks left. The block gets contained by that guard. I guess it would have been Ezra. No shock. Ezra had a pretty good day today, other than one particular moment that I'm not even sure is his fault, but okay. Mm-hmm. He was fast enough before the play was over to quickly bounce over back to the right side across the middle of the line and help the right guard. He goes, ha. That's the mobility that they needed. And a guy that's a bruiser like that can't do that. Again, fundamentally, I agree with you. But this is, again, it's players, not plays, baby.
It goes back to that whole offensive line conversation that we only had offline that I never brought to the actual podcast, and I think I need to now on the whole style of this offensive line versus the style of the Vikings versus the style of the Rams, and how different they are and how different they are and why they call the types of plays that they call. That sounds like it needs to be its own little standalone. So we'll have that. We will bring that to the podcast now since we've already talked about it on the side. But
what can I say? You're welcome, champion.
It was too busy. I couldn't do it. But I got you.
No one's mad at you. I thought I wanted to tell you to put it down and that the Duval would hear it at another point. We're good.
But Monheim moving people was it. And I was like, and then the fact of the matter is the fact that the running backs were able to play off of them. Travis Etienne looked really good. Bashaw Tootin looked really good. Radius is talking about. I'm a while for thinking that Tootin looked like the hardest guy to stop in the running back room. He did. He gets low. He hides behind these big monsters that's in front of him, and he just finds ways to kind of just duck and dive in between these holes. And yeah, man, he's looking good. And I know he's a rookie, and that matters. But also LaQuint Allen. I'm not going to let this dude hide behind the fact be hidden because his stats don't look as great. The fact of the matter is he was 2 for 2, if not 3 for 3, as far as his pass blocks were concerned, and he was super active in the actual receiving part of the passing game.
There it is.
Nah, man, that dude played well. Tootin played well. Etienne played well. Tank had a quieter day, but even he still had the long screen pass after breaking all those tackles and 3 cutbacks. Hey, man, Jaguars running back room looks very, very good, and it stinks for a guy like Jackson who may be on the outskirts kind of looking in, but that's okay. That's a good problem for this Duval County team to have.
I don't feel like Tootin was the hardest guy to stop. I do think he was the guy who was the biggest threat at any particular moment on the field. But the way LaQuint was spinning and doing things for his size made him look pretty damn versatile, Travis. I got to tell you, I have to cite it. And they both kind of ran behind the backup units of the offensive line. I don't want to be like, well, Tootin only got the starters. No, that's not what happened here. But I don't think LaQuint got the starters. I would have to go back and look, but
no, LaQuint did not get the starting reps. I'll say that. Yeah.
So, a little air quotes less support. Granted, the weaker unit was also out for the Saints. Duh. Let's be completely 100%. But for a 7-round pick, man, come on now.
Yeah, no. You fair. No, and Zenith asked the question, am I tripping or is Abdullah playing ahead of Muma, Miller, and Kaiser, which is a different position? That's a different linebacker role. Like they're playing Yasir more at that. Yasir and Dennis Gerdak, who didn't play today, and Jalen McLeod, who also didn't play today, more playing at that. I believe it was a Sam linebacker role where they're kind of more pass rushing, more of a package, than playing a lot more dime or nickel sets like that. So that's why you're going to see him over the field more often. But it's not necessarily he's playing ahead. He's playing a different role. They just use him differently.
Player, I think injuries biggest problem. He's kind of got like the Trey Lance thing going on there. Which no, this isn't just an excuse for me to plug the Bolt Blitz. But I was talking about that too. Like, this is another player who injuries really kept us from knowing who he really is still. I don't know that we know who Yasir Abdullah is yet. So they're moving him around. Maybe there's some depth there. But it's a good question.
And the Sear premiere. Travis, bro, what happened in the second half? LOL. No, man, what happened in the second half is the level of talent kind of equalized. Yeah, like the starters and the second string guys from the Jaguars left the field, and the third stringers and fourth stringers came in for the Jaguars, playing against the third and the fourth stringers of the Saints. And all of a sudden, everything just seemed level, and their third stringers and fourth stringers is better than the Jaguars. They have more depth. Oh my gosh, that's a shocking thing for a team that just, for a Jacksonville Jaguars team that is obviously trying to rebuild that depth, and they just had their first draft under this new regime. That's going to be a thing, and that you gotta just have to accept that the Jaguars will need great injury luck in the 2025 season before they have a second draft and a second full offseason to kind of bring in more of the guys down that depth chart that they truly want to kind of build out this depth and give those guys more experience also just in time to develop with this new staff. So there's a lot of pieces to that, but the Saints have been the same. They've been in the same system with the same coaches for a while. So yeah, I'd expect their depth to be better than the Jaguars' depth. I just have concerns about the top tier talent. I want top versus top. The Jaguars need to be better, but depth wise, yeah, I think that's kind of expected, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I definitely see the element of the depth too, but there's some places where the depth is better than I thought it would have been. Mason Smith, of course, being back in the game a factor, but I'm just going to get this out the way and take my medicine. Duval Smoot, kind of a big deal. Okay.
Yeah.
I even reference myself in the third person in my article on Fans First Sports Network to all those out there who thought that he might have been a public relations move. Duval Smoot has something to say.
Yeah, man. I kept telling you. Hey man, don't call it a bounce back if you expected it. It just is what it is. The man just is who he is. Like,
all he did was come back to Duval in your mind. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
He just came back. Come on, Cletus. He just came back home, and that's it. That's all that happened. But yeah, I expected it. It was a really good game for him. I believe he had the quarterbacks. No, he didn't get a sack. Did he? He got the quarterback hit. On the day, and
he was part of he was part of the him getting in there. Granted, I think they're going to credit Trayvon with that, but him breaking through that pocket was what got Trayvon open for that intentional grounding call that the Saints racked up.
Yeah. Where they were in at the same time, and they gave Ventrell Miller a shared sack. Also, that was Ventrell.
That was Smoots, in my opinion.
It was both. It was just a pocket collapsing. I'm sorry, in Jacksonville, pockets collapsing. Like the fact of the matter, that also is a great takeaway. So you're talking about things that's happening on both sides of the ball. That's a great situation for the Jaguars. I know Radius has it. He's in his feelings about too many guys missing tackles. That's trying to show out to make the 53. Whether that's guys like Chad Muma, whether that's guys like Combs, as far as
Darnell Savage. I mean, he's going to make
Darnell Savage.
Darnell in my opinion, Darnell had a rough day with a missed tackle. And then when you get sent on a blitz from the edge as a safety, you cannot get stymied like that. The only reason the turnover happened was because Olave dropped the damn ball. So that's a problem, man.
That's true. Oh, but speaking of that safety competition, because Darnell Savage is a part of that with Dewey Wingert, Andrew Wingert. Hey man, Wingert. He only had the 2 solo tackles, but that sack
with Smoot setting up
that sack. That sack was nice. And man, my boy Sean went crazy for him on the socials. Sean's been out here in these streets just he's been yelling for Dewey forever, like as getting the starter option. So the fact of the matter is that, and as soon as it happened, I'm like, oh man, I gotta hit his dude mouth all week. But it is what it is. It's cool. It was a great play. Great job, Dewey. I've often said it's his job to lose at this point, and I truly feel that way unless Caleb Bransaw comes back. And hey man, all he's done is just kind of just solidify that stance for me. So it is what it is. Great job, Dewey. Keep proving the haters wrong, and that includes me. So yeah, but overall, the defense played just well. Like I had no takeaways from the starting defense that were in the negative category. You stopped the run well. You did well in the passing game. Jordan Lewis forced 2 incompletions on the day. He didn't get into pass breakups because the passes just weren't that close. Defensive line was dominant up front as far as their pass rush was concerned. Came away with multiple quarterback hits and a sack by Wingard. You have the intentional ground call from Trevon Walker with Smoot's assistance. You even had Kenny H. Lovely, the recent UFL player who was signed 3 days ago. He came up with that great interception. Hey man,
that was nice.
I love a great DB play, and if he has any opportunity to earn away on this Jaguars practice squad, I don't reasonably believe
coming down underneath was a great vision by him. I did really like that play and potentially a game-saving play. That
was nice. And he will probably he's someone who may get a lot of reps, a lot of snaps in week 3's game. So that's something to maybe look out for if he has an opportunity to try to earn a way into a practice squad situation, at least. I think that would be great for him. But overall, yeah, I think it was a really dominant showing for this Jaguars, offense, a really dominant showing for the Jaguars defense, an unfortunate ending by Seth Hennigan and the Jaguars, offense to kind of give that opportunity for Cam Little away. But I also wanted to give Parker Washington a shout out because, again, we had questions on what he was going to be. Was he going to have those opportunities to make plays down the field? He ended up having 2 catches. The touchdown catch made a play kind of weave back inside and made away into the end zone, and then he had another longer catch, also like over 10 yards. And in my head, I'm like, way to go, Parker. That's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see it when the lights come on and not just in practice. Way to go there. He also had a 29-yard kick return and a 15-yard punt return. So if there's any questions about Parker Washington's status, y'all should just let that go, man. It's a wrap. The man's on the roster at this point. Let's see if he can push for that wide receiver 3 spot. Like, that's what we're talking about at this point.
And there's a couple questions that are popping up here in the comments that I want to address. I think that directly touches one of them with your Parker Washington comment. I'm pretty sure him being the regular returner isn't going to be in the cards. I think they're going to retain him so he doesn't get injured or whatever. But if I'm right, Radius comes out, would love to know the thinking of having the running back you're giving the first carry to returning the first kickoff. Feels like that should be the same guy's job.
I don't think that matters. Like, honestly, especially if you have a running back core that you know that you're going to be doing this as a committee. And let's just be clear about that. That's the landscape right now. It kind of feels very obvious that the landscape is going to be best hot hand by committee. So Tank is part of that committee, sure. But should he be the first guy with the kickoff? Who cares? It's Parker Washington and Tank as it currently stands, and he's one of the guys. That's just one more opportunity for Tank to get the ball in his hands and try to make a play. He should be happy about that. I don't see an issue with that at all. All these guys got to earn their stripes. They got to earn their spots, and that's just part of that equation. I don't see a problem.
Hey, when in week 6 to 8, when LaQuint Allen's getting the starting reps instead, none of this matters.
All right.
I had to say the silly thing. Not just because, well, you know what? I'm going to do it to myself. Boom. There you go. Okay. Exaggeration alert. There we go. Anyways, let me go back to the comments. I had to find the exaggeration alert. My bad. Let's see.
We learned about Nick Mullins aggressively mid. Oh, Jesus.
No, I'm staying out of the Nick Mullins conversation.
I don't know. Like, what have we learned about Nick Mullins other than he's aggressively? How are you aggressively mid? Wow. Which we knew before game 1. That is rough. I thought he was fine. He knows the offense and he'll keep them on schedule. That's generally what his purpose is.
I'll take him over Mac Jones. You know,
I don't know. They're the same in a better system. They're the same quarterback just in a better system like that's honestly how I feel. And that's not a knock on either one of them. That's just
it's a knock on the previous coaching regime. That's what it is.
Mac Jones would have been fine in a solid system. He's kind of the same situation. It's just is what it is.
That's a fascinating take. I didn't know you felt that way. That's cool.
No, neither did I until I said it. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I think that's accurate. So yeah, but that's what Storm the Desert says. Mullins is more of a teacher, kind of knowing the system backup. And he's not much of a thrower of the football. He's a fine backup if you know he doesn't have to start. And if he does have to start, you better lean on defense, lean on the run game, and he'll keep you generally on schedule, making the throws that an NFL quarterback should make. And that's the kind of the standard backup quarterback. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't got no issues. Just until you're ready to bring in a rookie to truly challenge and stress Trevor, then sure, I think Mullins a fine option. I don't got no issues with him.
Yeah, I mean, mid when you have a receiver core this good is how you keep things going while the starter's missing time. That's the kind of thing. This is how Baker Mayfield returned to form in LA when Stafford was out. It's things like that. You know, what's the old adage Jimmy Johnson used to say? The most important guy in your roster is the quarterback. The second most important guy in your roster is the backup quarterback. Now, I don't believe that, but it's a school of thought, right?
No.
He's third behind the left tackle. The punchline's this, because you have a good left tackle, you may not even need the backup quarterback.
But Zenith called a great call out on this bad boy because he mentioned the fact that everybody was like all on DeAndre Prince because he was having to go up. He was having to be guarding, Chris Olave for much of the second quarter into the early third. And I'm like, well, you forget that we were down 3 corners. So you are talking about a guy who's facing a top NFL receiver. Like, I'm not going to say he's top 10 in the league, but he's absolutely top 4 of the league.
Yeah,
starting caliber receiver. And DeAndre just haven't had the reps like that. Like, he's just not at that level at this current moment in time. So the fact that the Jaguars were down 3 people in their secondary, it felt like it. And then they end up going on the Saints end up going on a 14-0 run and tying this bad boy up because the Jaguars really couldn't stop him. But let's call it what it is. The Jaguars still held them to 17 total points.
Correct. And how many of them were actually started or scored rather, like early in the game. You know, where you got the third strings out
Right.
there.
It was 17-3 at the half. That's the
Spencer
point. That
Spencer
matters.
Rattler
That's the
thinking he's
takeaway.
earning a job now. That's, I mean, come on, you know. Anyway,
That is the takeaway. Shout out Cedric Holmes. What's up,
I was
Kyle?
about to, I mean, I was going to bring up the question he had earlier. Here, what is this?
Yeah.
We back. Forget all that talk about last week preseason. Have you seen enough to think, Travis, that this is better than a 4-12 team? I mean, I think both of us are on record as saying an 8-win team, but you know,
Come on, this team was better than a 4-win team last year. If you don't talk about Trevor Lawrence's injury and Evan Ingram's injury and Christian Kirk's injury, all of a sudden this is a 7-win team even in 2024 with Doug Peterson's system and Trent Baalke, roaming the hallways. So yeah, this is better than a 4-win team because it was better than a 4-win team when they came in. That's what I feel. So yes, I think the floor for this team is probably 7 to 8 wins, and that's bare minimum. And anything above that is golden. Anything below that, I got questions unless someone got seriously injured, like one of your starting 2 receivers of Travis Hunter or BTJ, or maybe the quarterback and Trevor Lawrence. Like outside of that, I got no idea how that would be 4-win, 5-win team. I just don't see it, bro.
Yeah, I'm with that. You know, I'll put it that way. There's oh gosh, I just lost the question I thought I was going to go to, but I thought
who's our right guard? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh no, we'll get to that one because I'm very curious your opinion. Defense looked nice. It will be better once Armstead, Mason, and Travis join the defense.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to jump the ship though.
Sure. I mean, listen, if you're that old as Armstead is, you ain't be trying to play in preseason. I get it. Duval looks better than I thought. Smoot looks better.
The reason I didn't want to jump the ship was only because I'm not crazy, man. I still got to acknowledge that we are really talking about like these guys being able to walk and chew gum. Like I want to be I'm happy folks are excited. They should be. This team looks like a team that can take the field, line up, not make mistakes, and just do the basic NFL football things. And that is positive. I want to be very clear. They were also playing against backups, and they were also like I'm talking about. These guys are missing, Trevor Penning, missing Alvin Kamara, missing Brandon Cooks at receiver, missing their starting nose tackle. Literally, basically, let's just say they're missing their entire starting defense.
Well, that's true. And missing Alvin Kamara, all that means is they may actually try to run the football now because all Alvin Kamara could do is catch passes. Anyways, so
I mean. I'm just saying, but the fact of the matter is they're missing there's 2 starting safeties, 2 starting corners, etc., like all of the linebackers. So from the Jaguars offensive point of view, yes, they were missing so many guys that you have to look adequate. And that if not for the turnover, that wasn't really forced by the Saints. It was just a situation. Ezra Cleveland steps on the quarterback's legs. It is what it is. It happened. The Jaguars should look how they looked. And I'm happy that they did, but I also don't want to be like, hey, Super Bowl, because Eric Armstead's going to be back and Mason Smith's going to be back and everything else. And I'm like, let's be clear. They were playing with the Saints were playing without a lot of guys, and I don't want to go crazy, but be happy. Don't let it ruin your weekend is my point, because they did play well. Good job. And you should feel better about them. And you should feel better about them when they go down to Miami and likely play really well in joint practices. Good.
So, yeah. Zenith asks, oh, no. My cursor done screwed up. If you see it, go ahead and put it up. There it is.
What? Yeah. Who's the right guard?
Who's the right guard? Answers Patrick McCarry because it's not Wyatt Millam. Because
they like Chuma. They like Chuma, man. He just didn't play because of an undisclosed injury today, but they like Chuma.
Yeah, well, and I thought he got hurt during the game.
Chuma. That was a mistake by the announcers. Chuma was inactive. Chuma didn't play.
I feel better.
That was the Joshua Cephas injury, and they thought it was Chuma.
Gotcha. I'll go back with this. I like Wyatt. When depth happens and the dog days of the season come, he's going to get plenty of playing time and be relatively reliable. However, he's still making rookie mistakes, right? You're fast enough to get out to the second level with a guy that runs a 4.3 in Bayshall Tootin, and you have a guy that you can run some more and hit, or you have a guy that's trailing. And I guess I don't know if Bayshall decides to dance a lot instead of run with his speed, maybe that guy can get to him. Wyatt picked the dude. Don't run backwards when you have a guy who's a track star like that. You get out ahead.
Yeah.
If they catch him behind him, They lucky. Okay. So
It's a weird thing because I'm going to be really honest and just let you guys behind the scenes of this, veil. I was both impressed by Bayshaw Tootin in today's game, while also disappointed that he still didn't break like 3 of those rushes to longer
that's
runs.
fair.
Like
Fair.
I thought I saw the rushes and I'm like, well, dang it, he's one spin away from or breaking that one ankle tackle away from making this an actual long run because no one's going to catch him with that speed. And I just wanted to see a little bit more wiggle in his game on 2 of the rushes, and I was just like, well, dang. It's weird to say like he looks like a different guy because he is breaking those tackles while also being like, well, dang, I just wish to see a little bit more, especially considering the talent that he was playing up, lining up against. So it's a weird feeling to be able to say both be critical of a guy and also give him a claim.
I think that's fair, but and then with a rookie, maybe he's still getting his feet right. There's so many things that can be a factor still at this point.
No, sure. That's fair. But
yeah,
but for the most part, that's what I got from my main takeaways. Like overall, and again, read the Big Cat Country article. We got all the inactives and actives of both teams, so kind of give you a little bit more context as far as why this looked the way it looked, but also context in your exuberance and how this team is going to play. I still got questions on whether or not that Chad Muma versus Jack Kaiser competition is truly heating up and what that's going to look like, because Muma gave up that long catch to the Saints tight end that was just nasty, and that stinks because I'm tired of seeing Chad Muma on the opposite side of these highlight plays.
Yeah,
just being real. But he bounced back. He did have a good game, and I want to make sure to be very clear in saying that to folks because everybody's clowning him in all my group chats, and I'm just like, but he did have a really solid game after that play occurred. And I want to be able to say that. Like, I think almost all of his tackles were solo tackles, and he had a quarterback hit, I believe. And I'm like, Jack Kaiser played really well. When we know he had 6 tackles, 3 tackles that were solo. He had the sack, I believe. No, the quarterback hit. It wasn't a sack. It was a quarterback hit. And I'm like, yeah, Jack Kaiser was in that conversation for me for my player of the game, conversation on defense. Like he played that well, in my personal opinion. And I don't know what to do with that position because you're on the last year of the contract with Muma. So that's always going to be an interesting conversation overall. But I think those linebackers, Ventrell Miller, Jack Kaiser, and even Chad Muma, after giving up that one catch, all played reasonably well. And I'm interested in how that's going to work.
I agree. The Muma play looked particularly bad because he was beaten so bad he was face guarding him and still couldn't stop that.
It was tight coverage, but you got to get the ball out and get your hand in there, something, or get your head around and make a play like something, man.
Well, he got beaten to the point because he had his back already. It's a thing that happened. I think that's why it looked bad is because it was face guarding and all that. He's got to get in there. Obviously, he can't let the guy behind him that much. Let's credit the other guy. Made a hell of a catch. I thought that was a very difficult play for the offensive player to make there for a tight end, especially.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
So shout out Monheim. Again, I did not have high expectations for him at all. And the fact that he's exceeding my non-expectations and actually making me question everything I thought I knew about who he was as a prospect is saying something. And I publicly say it because I publicly have my questions. I'll publicly say, hey man, you've shown on the grass that I don't know offensive line ball. I'm okay with that. Hey man, great job. And keep on growing, keep on evolving. And I hope he ends up being a starting caliber player for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the future, whether that's this year or next year, whenever it may be.
But I'll say this, you're in that Leonardo DiCaprio phase, I would think, right? At first he had your, At first he had your curiosity. Now he has your attention. And that, listen,
2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. Jonah Monheim has earned my attention. I will absolutely say that. And I hope that when I rewatch this thing on the All 22 that I still keep that same opinion and that I'm not just thinking of these 2 and 3 plays that he just piqued my interest. And it's not, I want to see that it's more than that, truly. But again, shout out Ventrell Miller. He was my defensive player of the game. And I know folks are going to disagree with it. I don't care. Fight your mama. Argue about it.
It's a place. I liked it.
And Cedric Holmes says he thinks Chad Muma is gone because this regime did not pick him, which, I mean, a lot of guys, this regime did not pick. And yeah, then that may be possibly that they are gone, but we'll see. I mean, he's got an opportunity to earn it on the field. So again, we'll see.
Fair enough, man. I think with that, we got through a lot of the comments. Anything you guys want us to go over moving forward, you could find the Duval Dive on Twitter and socials and things. You can find either of. Matter of fact, Travis D. Holmes, tell the world where you can be found for anybody who has one question.
I can be found on all the socials as Travis D. Holmes. And if you guys are paid much attention to the Duval Dive on TikTok, if you've paid attention to the Duval Dive on Discord, on X, on Blue Sky, we will do a whole podcast based on something that you tell us if it's a dope idea. We are not those other podcasts. We will actually react to what you're saying and communicate with you on the socials. And if it's a dope enough idea, we will absolutely do a one-off pod just to address it. So, hey, continue communicating with us. Continue talking. Travis D. Holmes on all the socials, Blue Sky, X, etc. Find the Duval Dive on TikTok. Find the Duval Dive on, the Duval Dive on X, etc. Talk to us. Come up with your ideas. If you got questions that we haven't gotten to, send it to us there. Maybe we'll do one off for you if you got questions. But yeah, Travis D. Holmes on all the socials. BigCatCountry.com. Check out the post-game article, and we will have the All-22 rewatch out hopefully sometime on Monday. And for the most part, that's what I got for you guys. Where can you be found, sir?
I could be found helping you champion this community of Duval divers to which you were speaking right there, friend. That was awesome. Loved every minute of it. And I also appreciate the posthumous hip-hop reference that telling people that X is going to give it to them. Anyways, of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my writings with the Fans First Sports Network covering your Jacksonville Jaguars and the Orlando Magic when that starts picking up. So look out for that. Of course, my work with the Bolt Blitz podcast as well with Booga Peters and 80 Simons. He's come aboard. Bro, a 6'11", 300-pound dude talking some listen, I know it's Charger football, but good God, it's a fun time.
Yes, sir.
So make sure you check all of that out. And of course, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret and Night Shift podcasts as well. An honor, joy, and privilege to do this with all of you guys. Cedric says, keep you guys in mind when it comes to all Jags news. They do awesome work. I just know we try really hard. Travis does a lot of awesome work. Anyways, with all that being said, enjoy doing it for you once again. For my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes is Kyle Nash, student of the game. Until next time, everyone. Class dismissed.